there was a kid who'd wake up half an hour before having to be in class, sleep deprived, and the first thing that he would do would be fapping. The first thing that he would do would be fapping, and after fapping he would spend another 15 minutes of that 30 minutes gap watching and spending it on Instagram. He would get late to class, he would sleep throughout classes, he would get bad grades, he would go home, eat junk food, and spend all the rest of the day playing video games. All of it. Till maybe 4 AM. He would get 2 hours of sleep, and the cycle would repeat. He would fap another 2 times, one time before going to sleep, and one time throughout the day. He would get 2 hours of sleep, would fap 3 times a day, would eat junk food, and play video games for at least 10 hours. And he was very suicidal. And that was me a few years ago. I got into self-improvement and I've tried to change my life. I've gone to trial and error, and I can tell you that it took me a while to get the formula that if I knew it back then, I would make so much more progress. And it's not even that hard. I mean, everyone can do it. It took me from the start of the year till now maybe 6 months, and I've made a lot of progress. I've made more progress than I did in 3 years of my self-improvement. I've read over 10 books, and I can tell you I've never read a book before last year. 10 books, and I still have 6 months, and I am on a roll. So if you want to unfuck your life and want to improve as fast as possible, you just have to do these simple steps. Addiction is a real thing, and it's really hard to quit, but you have to understand that it's not about quitting it instantly and never going back to it. It's to slow it down. So maybe let's say you fap 3 times a day. Your goal is not to quit instantly and never fap again. Your goal would be to reduce it over time. So maybe the next week you fap 2 times a day, and a week after 1 time, and so on until you get to a point where you fap once a month, once 3 months. And that's amazing progress. That's when you get to the golden point. And that's with any addiction. Playing video games, drinking, drugs, every single one of them. That's the best way you can quit, because everyone wants to quit instantly. I can tell you, I tried and it never worked. I tried with porn and it never worked. I would get back and back and back. And that's how I've quit most of my addictions. You have to take it slowly and trust the process. And after that, your life will improve immensely. Understand some things, that these habits are ingrained in your brain. So let me tell you an example. Most of the time when I would fap was when I would wake up, when I was bored, and before I got to bed. That's the trigger that I had with porn. You have to understand the triggers of your actions and try to change them up. So what I did, after I wake up, I would open my door and leave it open, because I live with my parents, and who would fap in front of their parents. Before I would go to sleep, I would just have some rituals, like putting sticky notes besides my computer, practicing, like when I had urges I would just go take a cold shower. You have to understand, and you have to do your own rituals to get rid of those addictions. With video games the same. I would play video games when I was bored, I would play video games when I was anxious, and I tried to reduce most of these problems that I had. You have to understand your problems, you have to understand why do you trigger these addictions and these problems, and you have to change them up in your own way. I can't tell you how. After you change them up, you have to change the addiction that you have. After you've understood yourself and why you trigger those problems, these addictions, you have to change them up. How? Reduce them, and after you reduce your addictions, change them with good habits. Reading was a big thing for me. Going to the gym, making a program. I would do the same and the same and the same actions every single day, and that made me progress even more. Reduce the addictions, add good habits, and that's how you make most progress. It's hard, but that's how you can change the fastest. You will be miles ahead of your competition if you take it slowly, one step at a time. That's how I've quit most of my addictions. That's how you can quit them. It's pretty simple. Start reading, start meditating, start going to the gym, be physical, read books. You've heard this stuff a million times before, but you still do these bad habits. Why? Because you are not disciplined, most probably, and you don't have that drive. Journal. The biggest thing for me was journaling. Journal. Learn more about yourself. Why are you doing this? Why can't you quit? Why can't you keep up? Why are you active 1 week? Why are you making so much progress in 1 week, and after that you go back to your old addictions? Understand yourself, and after that you can change everything. That's the fastest way. In 6 months I've changed every single aspect of my life, and you can do the same. See ya, bro. Take care.